Well, hello, you. I noticed that you noticed me noticing you, and I couldn't help but notice you need me. You're over there reading a Caroline Kepnes novel. Ha! At least it's not Dan Brown. Just let me help you, take care of you, and love you.
Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to my channel. As you saw from today's title, it's gonna be a book review. So I know I don't do very many book reviews on my channel, but I've been sitting on this book review for a while, and I decided that I was gonna go ahead and just go for it. So as you saw from the title, I will be reviewing the latest installment in the You series, You Love Me. The reason why I really wanted to go ahead and put this review out is because I have a feeling that You, the third season, will be coming out soon. And while the show is not a direct copy of the books, I still feel like they might take some sort of inspiration from this third book and use it in the third season. So to prepare us for that, let's get right into it. Like I said before, obviously the books are totally different from the show. So if you're watching this thinking it's gonna have some sort of spoilers maybe for season 3, I don't know what to tell you. But at the end of Hidden Bodies, which is the second book in the You series, we saw Joe Goldberg being sent to jail.
So let me just say this first. I was so ready for this book to come out. I was so excited, y'all. So excited. It's obviously been a long time coming since the last book was released, so I was super excited.
I'm obsessed with the series, so I've rewatched the show at least 3 times by now. So when I got the book and I read the synopsis on the book jacket, I was confused. And I was so confused. I was thinking that I had the book and the show mixed up and that I was missing something. So I went back and reread the first book and the second book because I was like, how the hell did we get here? And y'all, I wasn't confused. It was just really one of those how the hell did we get here moments.
Y'all.
The book opens up and Joe Goldberg is in a new town. He is in Bainbridge, Washington, which is a small little island right off the West Coast. At the end of book 2, we saw Joe go to jail, and we're like, how the heck is he in Bainbridge, Seattle? What the heck? So we come to find out that Joe was in jail for 9 months awaiting his prison trial, and somehow the Quinns got him out of jail and paid him $4 million to leave Love alone and go away. His son was born while he was in jail, and Love ended up naming their son 40.
So, like I said, I was just completely confused because it's like, what the heck? How y'all just gonna have Joe leaving Love? Like, he's in a whole new city, stalking a whole new woman. It was just like, what the heck are y'all doing?
Eventually the story did come around and, you know, pick up its pace and, you know, give us a little bit of that good old Joe Goldberg action. But y'all, I was like, girl, what is you doing? I feel like Caroline Kepnes was just trying to keep the same kind of formula going for the next book. So she kind of did away with Love. And then on top of that, I feel like she wants to change directions because of the show as well.
So, I don't know. It was just very, very odd to me that the way they did that. Like, Joe was so happy about becoming a father. Like, why would y'all have him get paid off and go to another place? Like, it was just beyond me.
We have all new characters in this book for the most part. Nobody is a reoccurring character except for the Quinns. And let's just go over some of the new people that we meet in You Love Me. So Joe's new You and his new love interest is Mary Kay DeMarco, who he affectionately calls MK. She's an older woman and she is the head librarian at the new library that Joe is going to volunteer at.
He has $4 million, so he doesn't need to go work, so he's just going to go volunteer at the nice big library in his neighborhood.
She's more distinguished. She's like mysterious and sexy. And she also wants to open a bookstore. Then we have Phil DeMarco, who is Mary Kay's husband. Yes, Mary Kay's husband. And Joe didn't even know that she had a husband because he was trying to be a good guy and not stalk her. And he was still stalking her, but whatever. Y'all know how Joe is. Joe crazy. But anyway, Phil is Mary Kay's husband, and Joe finds out that she's married after they share their first kiss, and she tells him that they can't do this anymore. But Phil is a former drug addict and a 90s rock star. Washed up rock star at that. So he's still living in the past, wanting to, live in his youth. He's holding on to that little bit of fame that he had back in the day. Can't let it go, okay? Then we have Ivan, who is Phil DeMarco's brother. He is a life coach, and he's secretly in love with Mary Kay as well. Everybody want MK. Then we have Nomi, which is Mary Kay's teenage daughter. She is in high school. She's getting ready to graduate soon. She's 17 years old. She's quiet. She's very reserved. And she is obsessed with Columbine.
She is obsessed with Columbine.
She's a very innocent young girl, and Joe affectionately refers to her in his mind as the meerkat.
Why? I don't know.
Next, we have Melanda, who is MK's best friend, her female best friend. She is a hardcore feminist, and she also works at Nomi's high school. And then we have Seamus, which is Mary Kay's male best friend, and he's super fit in the CrossFit. He's kind of like one of those bro type dudes on steroids, always taking pre-workout and all that. Yeah, he's one of those. And Joe suspects that he too wants Mary Kay. And then we have Oliver, and Oliver becomes Joe's friend, but he is actually there spying on Joe for the Quinns. He works for the Quinns, and he ends up blackmailing Joe into buying him stuff out of his $4 million that the Quinns gave him in order to keep quiet about Joe's indiscretion. So, like I said before, Joe didn't know Mary Kay was even married, and he didn't find out until they kissed. But then once he finds out she's married, he Googles her husband, find out he's a washed up rock star, former drug addict, so on and so forth, and Joe starts being Joe. He starts stalking Phil. He even goes as far as signing up for a Narcotics Anonymous class just so he can go in there and sit in there with her husband.
And Joe does his regular shit, breaking into people's homes, going in their phones, computers, all that good stuff. Typical Joe.
So I will say this. The interesting thing about this book, although it still had a lot of murder in it, Joe did not kill anybody.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of disappointed because I wanted him to at least catch one body. Just one. Just one. Just one.
But he did not kill anybody, but everyone around him kept dying. And he was always in a predicament where it seemed like he was either guilty, he was a part of it, he caused it, or something. Something that Joe did spiraled out of control and caused all of these people to die.
He's doing everything he can to try to be a good guy, which is why he moved to this nice, quiet, middle of nowhere, suburban, residential area, and now all of a sudden, the murder rate is up. Joe is in town and the murder rate is up, okay?
Joe's new home, he has his new cage, which is called the Whisper Room. It used to be a recording room, so it's soundproof and you can't hear shit. Just what Joe needs. Obviously, y'all know that's why he bought the house. So, the people who died...
Now we must interrupt this broadcast with a live rant.
Sorry, I don't understand. Shut up, bitch. Y'all. I am so frustrated with myself. Why did my camera cut off? Because I had ran out of storage. I done finished the whole video, y'all. And only like the first 10 minutes of the video was recorded. And I done sat up here for like 30 minutes talking about this book, y'all. Part of me feel like I shouldn't even talk about this stupid ass book. I'm just so irritated right now. I don't even know what all was recorded, what all I said. I think the part it cut off on me on was when I was talking about Joe didn't kill anybody in this book. He was just always having to clean up the messes, or he was an antagonist for somebody else killing themselves, or whatever the case.
So the people who died in this book are Melanda, Mary Kay's best friend, Yolanda caught Joe creeping outside of Mary Kay's home, and she tried to attack him. Joe got the upper hand and locked her in his whisper room. And during this, Yolanda confessed she'd been having a 10-year affair with Phil DeMarco. Yes, Mary Kay's husband.
These hoes ain't loyal. These hoes ain't loyal.
She really wasn't even Mary Kay's friend. She was really just around because she wanted her man. Y'all better keep your eye on these hoes because they will go after y'all man. Listen, take it from me. Yolanda is proof.
My crackhead ass forgot to mention that she committed suicide in his basement.
I would think that Joe would have killed Phil, Mary Kay DeMarco's husband. And it's not to say that he did not try, but he did not successfully kill him. So like I said, Joe was going to Narcotics Anonymous meetings, meeting up with Phil, and Joe actually planted some drugs in the house, hoping that Phil would find them and overdose on his own, but Phil actually went out, bought his own drugs, and it ended up being a bad batch, and he died anyway.
Nigga serving up a bad batch to the bacon on it. Hustle on, let him hold it.
Yeah, that nigga had a bad batch. He had a bad batch. And Nomi just so happened to find her dad dead on the day where Mary Kay decided to go ahead and hang out with Joe. Mary Kay's male best friend also dies in this story, and it was not at the hands of Joe. Seamus actually kidnapped and tortured Joe and was planning on killing him because he said he is not deserving of Mary Kay. He is not deserving of the DeMarco love, okay? And there was really another motivation for what Seamus was doing, but I'll talk about that in just a second.
But yeah, Seamus was crazy. He had Joe tied up to a tree, had his body cut all open and stuff, trying to get like the little random outdoor creatures to come get him, the wildlife to come and attack him and stuff. Like that man is crazy. But Joe did not kill Seamus. Oliver,
a private investigator slash hired hand for the Quinns, was watching Joe, making sure that he wasn't getting in trouble, and ended up seeing that trouble got Joe and saved him and killed Seamus. Now this death in the book was completely random, completely unnecessary. I feel like it was meant for wow factor, but it did not wow me. It irritated me and kind of made the book feel gimmicky, shallow. Like it was only doing it literally for wow effect. So we don't hear from Love at all throughout the book until maybe about halfway, 3/4 into the book, where she randomly calls Joe and tells Joe that he needs to come to LA to meet with her. Now, on the show, we see that Love is crazy. We see she's crazy at the end. We see that she is crazy, y'all. Like, she's crazy. In the books, we don't get that same vibe. They indicate nothing towards the fact that Love is crazy. So, they try to explain it and say that Love is suffering from postpartum. She was upset because she knows that Joe has killed all these people for love and done all these things for love, and he did not even try to come back and fight for her and 40. She named their son 40. And she was upset. She is going through postpartum, and Joe just took that $4 million and didn't even try to pull out any of his Joe Goldberg tricks for her. She is pissed.
she like, yeah, you gonna kill all these hoes, catch all these bodies for these hoes, and you can't even come fight for me? Huh? You scared of my daddy and them that much? Huh? Punk ass, oh weak ass, damn.
Shot that boy in the head. Yes, she shot Joe in the head, y'all. And then turned the gun on herself and killed herself. Love is dead, and their son is with Ray and Dottie, her parents.
I don't understand what the point of that was, what the point of having Joe move on. I'm thinking maybe because they don't want the books to be too close to the show, so they wanted to try to switch things up. I honestly do not know. What was the point? I was just completely confused, and that was part of the reason why I was confused, because when the last book left off, Joe was still so madly in love with Love. He wanted to be a dad. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, you just gonna take the $4 million and go try to be a good guy now? Like,
it's beyond me. It really is. It's beyond me. Now, here was the biggest twist of the story, in my opinion. On the show, Joe is very fond of children. He's always trying to protect them. He is very endearing towards them. And we know this because his own childhood, he had an abusive childhood, a very neglected childhood. He has a lot of childhood trauma that he is holding on to. So he always has a kid in his stories that he is endearing to and is helping through. So Mary Kay has a daughter. He is very kind to her. He tries to look out for her, make sure she's good. And Nomi is taking that the wrong way. And we soon find out that Nomi is not the little innocent meerkat that Joe thought her to be. Come to find out, this entire time, y'all, Synopsis has been banging Nomi. Yes, Synopsis. And that is why he was on Joe's case, because he thought Joe was trying to come and take his woman. And his woman wasn't Mary Kay, it was Nomi. So anyway, child, whole time, Nomi thinking Joe want her. She tried to come on to him and he like, whoa, I love you. Swerved on her real quick, hit her with the Heisman. And she didn't take that the right way. So her and her mother ended up getting into this huge argument, and she pushes her mother down the stairs, and now Mary Kay is in a coma.
Y'all, this book was just, I don't know.
I did like it better than Hidden Bodies, but I don't understand the point of it. What was Caroline Kepnes trying to depict to us? What was she trying to show us about Joe? That no matter what he does, he's still the bad guy? We knew that. So I don't understand what the point was in bringing him to this town and Joe Goldberg in town. Now the murder rate up. The murder rate increasing if he snapped. We knew that though. Shout out to Nip.
Murder rate increasing if I snap. Nigga, ain't no hanging out. We take y'all off and double back. Nigga.
And we know there's going to be another book. She's already got picked up to write another book. And at the end of this book, Joe flees to Florida, yet another city, and he's in some bookstore, bookshop, library, whatever, and another you walks in. Caroline Kepnes gonna have to do something for this next book. Like, I'm still gonna read it, but I'm definitely not as excited as I was for this book. Like, this book, I was so excited. And I just don't think that anything is ever going to capture the magic of that first book. Like, the first book, banger, it was a hit, and I feel like she just kept trying to keep up with the hype of that afterwards, and it's just falling a little flat. So I'm hoping that for book 4 it has a different direction. We get some sort of growth, we get something different than what we saw in this last book. Now it did have a couple of good twists and turns, with Nomi not being innocent and Synopsis being a predator and so on and so forth, but for the most part, the first half to 3/4 of the book were very dry, very repetitive, and it just wasn't really much going on. I really wanted to see Joe Goldberg in true Goldberg form, and he was not, and it just fell flat for me, y'all. I am curious to see if they're going to take any inspiration from this book and use it in season 3, because after looking at the cast listing for season 3, none of the characters that are listed are any of the characters that I read about in the book. Now, they could be, you know, the same character, but just with a different name or whatever. I'm not quite sure. But I'm hoping that season 3 of You, which I believe it will be much better, because the way the show is going, the direction of that is far more superior than the direction of the second book was already going anyway. So I think Netflix is gonna do it. I will say that this book probably gets about a 2.5, 3 stars from me. Wasn't the best book. It wasn't terrible either. And I don't know. It was okay. And that's kind of why it took so long to actually review this, because it was only okay. But I do want to go ahead and put this up because the new season, I feel like, is coming out fairly soon, and I just want to see what people's predictions are, and, you know, just see what kind of comparisons there will be between the book and the show.
I think I went over everything that I talked about the first time I recorded this. I hope I went over everything I meant to talk about the first time I recorded this. I'm so annoyed with myself that my camera shut off, y'all. But hopefully I covered all the points and didn't miss anything in the overlap.
But thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I want to hear your predictions down below for season 3. I want to hear what you thought about this book in particular. What do you think of the show in comparison to the books, and so on and so forth? Let's just discuss. I love you. I love the series, so I just want to hear y'all thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one.